So once again, I welcome you all to this very special 120th session of Leadership Talks. As you know that these talks are being organized by India International Education Council and School Lalaji Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. It aims to create a better world through education. It also aims to build quality centers for elementary education approachable for all kids, finding best educational practices across the globe and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. It is also creating more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It aims to build 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It also imparts training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. As you know that so far we have successfully conducted 119 sessions. We have received 12,863 registrations, 11,741 questions on national education policy. We have seen participation from 5 countries: India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Nepal. From India, we have seen participation from 21 states and 86 cities. We aim to organize 200 sessions. With this, we would be reaching out to 100,000 educators, 20,000 institutions, and 1,000 plus eminent speakers like today's speakers would be joining us to share their perspective on national education policy. So with this, I would request you all, please join me in welcoming our key speaker for this very special 120th session of Leadership Talks. Our first key speaker, very senior education leader, Rohini Ayama ma'am. Rohini ma'am is founder, principal, and vice chairperson with the Jammu Sanskrit School, Jammu and Kashmir. She's an MSc and MAd and also a passionate teacher, guide, and mentor. She has over 35 years of experience in the education sector. She has held several prestigious assignments in the last few decades. Her school is focused on experiential learning, and most of the syllabus is covered through innovative practices and projects. He has led various prestigious organizations and has excelled in areas as diverse as teachers, students, management initiatives, administration, quality assurance, training, and development of teachers. As a founding principal, she's an expert in educational management with the depth knowledge of educational psychology, instructional skills, and teaching pedagogy. She has been felicitated with many prestigious awards like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award. She has published. Her interview has been published in a magazine called Touch Education. She is a regular writer and contributor on educational articles. Her many articles have been published in Wednesday Times, which is a national education magazine. She has also received Indo-Nepal Social Mission Award by Antarrashtriya Swatantrata Samrastha Manch. She has also received the Mahila Shakti Shiromani Gold Award in 2016. We welcome you, Rohini ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, Samarjit Singh ji. Samarjit sir is Managing Director with the Sai Grace Academy International, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. He's a distinguished organizer, academician, leader, ardent speaker. He's blessed with gift of job, which is a motivator and guide to her colleagues and students. He has been awarded and recognized many times for his contribution to the field of education. We welcome you, Samarjit sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, another very senior education leader, Meera Srivastava ma'am. Meera ma'am is principal with Takshila Public Senior Secondary School, Delhi. She is also the member of the board of directors with All Time News. She is having more than 15 years of experience in the field of education, teaching, including 7+ years as a HOS. She has expertise in leadership, teacher training, child welfare, and school laws management, human resources, and several more skills that would be an asset to any school or equivalent organization. She has worked with many prestigious schools in the past. We welcome you, Meera ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. Our next key speaker, another senior education leader, Alka Negi ma'am. Alka Negi ji is principal with Waverly Public School, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. She is a passionate education leader, holds a master's degree and B.Ed. She's also done a 7 years diploma course in Bharatnatyam. She has over 3 decades of teaching experience with many prestigious institutions in Dehradun like Carbon School, Bright Land School, Convent of Jesus and Mary, and St. Jude School. She has also conducted English conversation programs in Delhi and Dehradun. We welcome you, Alka ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next speaker, Manmita Das Raina ma'am. Manmita ji is principal with the DBN Group of Schools, Jammu and Kashmir. She has 23 years of experience in education sector. She has been recipient of a Best Teacher Award in 2012 by MHRD. She is also a certified life coach in Lives Honor Delhi. She's also the co-founder of the World Teachers Association, founder and president of Welcoming Hope. She has been awarded as the most promising principal of the year by various educational organizations. She's also the state coordinator with CWSIR. Welcome, Sangeeta ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, Jaswinder Singh ji. Jaswinder ji is founder and CEO of Wordsworth ELT. Jaswinder Singh ji has an experience of 30 years in the field of education and technology and has also served as a consultant to UNESCO on education. Wordsworth English Lab is designed for India and is a highly research initiative of the ACT UNIP group. It is a trusted education company with 2 decades of service in technology, education and training. Its expertise in technology, multimedia and content development has been instrumental in presenting a world-class language lab solution for academia in India. In a short span of time, Wordsworth English Language Lab has managed considerable recognition across the country for its unique content and methodology. Over 3,000 installations in institutions across the country stands testimony of the quality in product, implementation, training, and the continual service provided by ACT-UNIP and its committed network of dealers. We welcome you, Jaswinder sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our last key speaker for this very special session, Mr. Sushant Sharma. Sushant Sharma ji is founder and CEO of DigiLux Healthcare. He pursued MBA from the University of Wales, United Kingdom. After coming back to India, he took franchise of a preschool brand and then 3 preschools in Delhi NCR before finally venturing into healthcare startup for providing digital healthcare services in schools via DigiLux Healthcare. He has successfully raised the first round of funding in his startup and listed among the most admired 20 CEOs to watch in 2020 by Prime View magazine. We welcome Mr. Shanti. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So with this, we formally begin the session. So I would request all our key speakers if we can have your quick 1-minute opening remark. I'll be coming back to you later for your main talk. So I would request Rohini Aima ma'am, if we can have your quick opening remark. Rohini ma'am. I believe Rohini ma'am lost the connection midway. Now I would request Samarjit Singh ji. Samarjit sir, if we have your presence. Okay, so I'll request Meera Srivastava ma'am. Meera ma'am, if we can have your quick 1-minute opening remark.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Principal Takshila, and I would like to relate that word with the NEP 2020, where government has emphasized a lot regarding ancient heritage of India, and we have got an opportunity to review back our culture. Thank you.
Great. So thank you, Meera ma'am. I'll be coming back to you for a detailed interpretation. Now I would request Alka Negi ma'am. Alka ma'am, if we can have your opening remark.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to congratulate the organizers for choosing a topic that is so new and relevant not only to the educationists but to the parents and to the children. I'm sure such deliberations will go a long way in providing better understanding of NEP 2020 and also spreading awareness among all stakeholders. I also take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving me this platform for knowledge sharing. Looking forward to a fruitful interaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Alka ma'am. We all are very excited to hear your ideas. I'll be coming back to you. And I would request Manmita Raina ma'am, if we can have your opening remark.
Respected panelists, first of all, I would like to congratulate the organization IICE for completing 120 episode here. on such a burning topic. So huge round of applause for IIEC, I think. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share the platform with these ultimate personalities. Looking forward for the fruitful discussion. And I hope the lovely audience also take away our fruitful discussion as well as the main key points. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raina ma'am. I'll be coming back to you. And now Rohini ma'am has joined us. Rohini ma'am, if we can have your opening remark.
Good afternoon, first of all, to all of you. Am I audible?
You're audible, ma'am.
Yeah, because there's a lot of internet connectivity problem at my end. So bear with me if I get disconnected in between. So first of all, I would like to congratulate India International Education Council for organizing such wonderful sessions throughout. And I've been listening to quite a few educators and really upgrading my knowledge also along with them. And I feel happy and privileged to share this platform with renowned educationists from the country. I shall be deliberating upon the most crucial and important stage of human development, that is early childhood care and education in India, and of course, setting the stage for the future as per the NEP. Let me tell you, if we want to ensure the success of this NEP, we need to bridge the gap between the government, private, rural, and urban area schools. And that should be our all educators as well as the government's aim, to ensure the implementation at the grassroots level of this wonderful NEP that they have come up with. With this, let's focus on the topics of today, and congratulations to all the educators who are present here this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohini ma'am. We all agree with you that we need to connect all the islands, in the education. So thank you. I'll be coming back to you for your detailed interpretation. Now I would request Jaswinder Singh ji, Jaswinder sir, if we can have your opening remark.
Yes, thank you and good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, all the educators. Privileged to be with you all. I basically come from an industry which is for language. We develop language skills for students, and I also have a background of technology. So NEP has bring in a lot of changes. In fact, it's a disruptive policy. But if you look at it positively, this disruption is something that will take us to the next level, because nothing else can take up. If you have seen all the disruptive models of the last 5 years, they've all been very successful only and only if implemented properly. So what I'm going to talk about it, how do we work on the areas that I work, and how do we all together work towards making it possible. It is not the government's mission, it is our mission. So that's what my topic is going to be. And I look forward to the second part of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaswinder sir. Now I would request Sushant ji, Sushant ji, if we can have your opening remark.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And it's our privilege to share, same platform among all the other prominent and eminent people, speaking here. So as far as we are concerned, we are a healthcare startup and we provide healthcare facilities, healthcare services in the schools. And now after coming back to national education policy, this national education policy has set a framework for healthcare too. So I would be covering pre-pandemic and during pandemic times for healthcare for schools. And it will be very interesting to understand about the awareness levels pre-pandemic and now during pandemic among schools for healthcare. So I would love to share my experiences. And I also have Rohini Amma ma'am, who is one of our first client from Jammu. And she was the first school we started 2 years back, and I have a privileged customer with me, so that will be my testimony too. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sushant ji, for that wonderful opening remark. I'll be coming back to you for detailed interpretation. So now, before I invite our first speaker for the main talk, we come to that second part. I would like to share the learnings which we have had during our 119 sessions. During the sessions, almost every participant who participated shared that, this is a wonderful document. This document, National Education Policy, has a has a potential to place India at that coveted position of Vishwa Gyan Guru. But almost at the same time, almost same number of participants share that execution is going to be very challenging. Though everyone in the end concluded that we have to execute it, but execution is going to be very much challenging. A lot of people share that finance is going to be a key concern area. Many people also share that good schools in urban areas, they are already implementing many of these ideas. Biggest challenge would be for rural school, for budget schools, or for government schools. Many educators also talked about the lack of teachers training. In fact, many people also said that bigger concern is the lack of intent among teachers to get trained. So that is another big concern. Many people who participated also share that this pandemic has exposed, how bad infrastructure, how bad technology infrastructure we have in our country. So that is also going to be another big concern area. So I would request all our speakers that, while sharing your interpretation, while sharing your remarks, if you can also suggest some idea, some thought, or some best practice which you are doing in your institution, so that we can we can learn from each other on this session, become more useful with that. So with this, I would request our first key speaker, Rohini Aima ma'am. Rohini ma'am, if I may request you for your detailed interpretation. Rohini ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. So the most valuable topic, I would say, the basis and the foundation of human development is the early childhood care and education. And what I feel that it is the most important part of any human being. Once the child takes the birth, I think the education and the care and the learning starts then and there only. But if we look into the education sector, and if we want to implement into the school stages, then I feel it aims into the holistic development of the child's social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs in order to build a solid and broader foundation for lifelong learning and well-being. And for this, I would like to say that there are 4 most important dimensions and components. The first and foremost is early learning. Now, how do we develop that early learning in the children and the care that they require at this stage? So I think it starts right from the home where the child comes from, because parents are the first educators or the teachers of any child. But once they come to school, what we feel that early learning, the classrooms should be very welcoming and innovative for the children, where they love to come and they really feel happy throughout the day. Here, I would like to say the classroom should not be only for the academic skills. What we as teachers are practicing in our school, we stress upon cultivating positive experiences rather than academic skills in the children. Academic follows if we really give them the positive experiences at early stage. Now, teachers at this stage in my school, they provide kids with the experiences that help them cultivate a warm and welcoming feeling towards the school and the learning, so that they feel secure and comfortable in their care also. Then comes the socio-economic, emotional skills, which can be emphasized through group plays, collaborative activities, and of course, the solitary time, keeping in mind the abilities, the needs of the children, where both kind of students, like we have introverts and extroverts, they are taken care of. The next comes the classroom arrangements under early learning. Here, the classroom arrangement should also be such where they really are, not stacked in one place. Rather, it should be flexible for them, so that it is adjusted according to the lesson plans and the activities that have been planned for these children. Because children have many learning styles, as the teachers have to develop many learning pedagogy for the children. So they need to develop the pedagogies as well as the environment of the classroom, so that children learn. Every varied kind of children, they should be able to learn and get something. Then there should be a free play time for the children, which we actually follow, because free play for the children require minimum teacher supervision. They feel empowered to explore themselves. They make simple choices, which I feel as adult being, which is a skill that is needed for problem solving. Then the teachers can develop the materials being used in the classroom out of the resources that are available. Of course, there are many gadgets available nowadays, but as per the need and the resources available in the school or around the schools, teachers can develop the resources which are available, should be concentrating on the naturally available or locally available products that are educative for the children, which should be used into the classroom situations. And each topic that we take up, we first stress upon the lesson planning, which is focused on the engaging activities for the child. Then whether they are relevant or not, the relevance of the topic and the theme is checked, and then how challenging that thing can be. And the relevance should be linked to the previous knowledge of the child. And when it comes to the challenging, that means the child should be, it should be able to, the activities should be able to extend and improve the competencies of the child. And the next comes the significance, whether what we are teaching, we are taking up with the child, any activity or the lesson, it is significant, whether it is contributing to the child's support, well-being, and the real life situations. So these are the components for the early learning things. Next comes, I said, the second component of any, learning stage is the family support. Now here the family should be very, very careful in keeping their children in a positive frame of mind by providing nurturing, conducive and supportive environment for optimum development of the children. And they should experiment and explore and encourage their children for experimentation at home, where the children use simple and opportunities for upgrading their lifelong learning. And this can be done in their day-to-day daily routine activities also. And then there has to be a mutual trust and relationship between the parents and the teacher, and of course the school and the community. The trust part is very important. That should be there, and the parents should have full faith in the teachers where their child is going, so that both collaboratively develop the systems that is beneficial for the growth of the child. So really, I think the parental and the family support again is a very important aspect into the early childhood education and care. And the next comes is the special needs and early interventions. Now, many a times when the children are entering the school, and the parents at home and the teachers, they ignore the special abilities of the children. So I think early identification, assessment, and appropriate services for these kind of children, where you identify some special needs of the children, is very important. And there we need to reinforce those things by developing various kinds of, assessments and the appropriate services for these children in collaboration with the counselors or the parents, so that the child is taken care of with those special needs right into the entry stage of the school. The next aspect, the fourth aspect comes is the physical health, mental health, nutrition of the child. Now here the comprehensive health services that meet the child's vision, hearing, nutrition, behavioral and oral health, as well as the medical health services, which again needs a very special attention for any class of the early childhood, whether it's a kindergarten, pre-primary, pre-nursery, or the prep classes. Because at this age, the child is balanced nutrition, appropriate time of sleep for the children, and their physical and the mental growth, that takes maximum, input and maximum things at the where the parents and the teachers again need to collaborate and work upon their physical and mental. Now, here again, I will say the processes of change that happen, the 4 stages I told you: early learning, family support, the early interventions for the special needs, and of course, the physical and mental well-being of the children. The processes in the change, which the child comes to master more and more complex levels of learning, thinking, feeling, interacting with people as they grow up, and the objects they observe around in their environment. I think if we take care of these 4 components in the early age, the children will be happy, growing and entering into the next level of education with full confidence, self-esteem, where they are able to explore and of course apply the things that they learn into the school situations. This is what all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rohini ma'am, for sharing these very useful and strong ideas. You talked about that, early learning is the key. And they are, you also very well, share those 4 important components to make that early learning very effective. You emphasize that every child is unique. It has, every child has unique capabilities, and teachers need to be innovative. They need to adopt those innovative approaches to recognize those uniqueness, and we need to celebrate that uniqueness. You also put your emphasis upon activity-based learning. You also talked about the importance of family support, the right environment which family and parents need to provide. And in the end, you also talked about that special needs and early intervention, early recognition of those kind of needs and requirements. And eventually talked about the importance of health in the entire the journey of a learner. We cannot ignore it. And we have Sushanti here, so he would be sharing more detail in the end, how we can do that. Now, thank you, Rohini ma'am, for sharing these important and valuable thoughts. I'll be coming back to you with questions.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rohini ma'am. Now, I would request Meera Srivastava ma'am. Meera ma'am, if we can have your ideas, your thoughts in detail.
Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am.
Very sorry. I would like to emphasize on the pattern of assessment that has been given in NEP. E or D? What viewing? Yeah. Oh, I got interrupted. Yeah. I would like to continue. From my point of view, the pattern of assessment that is given in new education policy is very appreciable. In particular, for those students who are not able to perform in academics, the integration of art and sports, and in particular, the assessment of a student starting from 3rd, 5th, and 8th, where they will be assessed by a common platform at national level, that is going to add a new flavor to improve. Most of the time, or better we can say, the teachers are not taking care of those students who are not able to perform in academics. As per the CBSE mark sheet, there are only limited pattern, limited topics where we are assessing a student. Here in NEP, lot of parameters has been given to assess any student as well. Not only a student will be assessed on 10th and 12th. The assessment will start in the very early stage, that is 3rd class, and again then in 5th and 8th. These all are going to be compiled, and ultimately adding 10th assessment and 12th assessment we will have a very clear picture what are the positive points of the student, which we are ignoring in the present evaluation system, because we can't be whole and complete. We have certain positive things and certain negative things. But for those who are the backbenchers, they are really ignored. And here, the inclusive education has given an opportunity to include them equally. This is in the right way we can say that education is giving equal opportunity to all, not only just for disadvantaged group or disabled student, but what happens to a normal student who is not able to perform in a good way in academics is really getting ignored, and ultimately the child is suffering after 12th. So here in all the parameters for their assessment, we are happy to see that the child will get one or more outlet, which is truly in present system blocked. And another thing that is related with the early childhood care, where health facilities are also a part of the school system, where we are going to take care of all students. Present system, it is including. And at times we find that due to negligence by part of the family, the child suffers. So this is going to give a complete solution in near future for our coming generation, because now the family and the school both are bonded in a way to achieve 100% success. That is the aim of the education policy right now going to be implemented next session. And the relation we are going to use with our heritage, this was truly ignored. Whatever problems we find in society, that all is going to be sorted out, because the gap is going to be filled by this new education policy. And in coming days, we are going to get the ancient glory of India by this policy. And for that, we all stakeholders have to not compete each other, but we have to compensate whatever the other fraternity is not able to give. That has to be completed by other stakeholders. In that way, it is a common, or we can say community responsibility. That is the best thing what I find. Earlier, it was individual organizations' responsibility. Now it is going to be the community responsibility. So in very near future, the outcome is going to be each and every individual will be very happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Meera ma'am. You talked about the importance of new age assessment, which NEP is proposing. You also talked about how it would encourage, parents, students, and everyone involved to, to do well in all the, I would say, all areas. You also, highlighted that NEP is emphasizing upon that collaboration. It is offering more, I would say, options for that inclusive education, and it would eventually help us in achieving that. Thank you, Meera ma'am, for sharing these valuable thoughts. I would be coming back to you with questions. Thank you, ma'am. Now, with this, I would request Alka Negi ma'am. Ma'am, if you can have your ideas, your thoughts. Alka Negi ma'am.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone. I'll be talking about some fundamental principles and the vision of the policy. Before that, we'll talk about some the sustainable development goals that we have, also known as global goals. They were adopted by United Nations member states in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. The Global Education Development Agenda reflected in the SDG for Sustainable Development, adopted by India in 2015, seeks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. Now, I'm going to talk about our rich heritage that we have, of course, and our new education policy is linked to that. The rich heritage of ancient and eternal Indian knowledge and thought has been a guiding light of this policy. The pursuit of knowledge, gyan, wisdom, and truth, satya, was always considered in Indian thought and philosophy as the highest human goal. The aim of education in ancient India was not just the acquisition of knowledge as preparation for life in this world or life beyond schooling, but for the complete realization and liberation of the self. World-class institutions of ancient India, such as Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, Vallabhi, set the highest standards of multidisciplinary teachings and research and hosted scholars and students from across backgrounds and countries. The Indian education system, it has produced scholars as Charka, Susruta, Aryabhatta, Varhamihira, Bhaskaracharya, Brahmagupta, Chanakya, Chakrapani, Datta, Madhva, Panini, Patanjali, Nagarjuna, Gautama, Maitreyi, among many others, who made seminal contributions to world of knowledge in diverse fields such as mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, medical sciences, and surgery. These rich legacies to world heritage must not only be nurtured and preserved for posterity, but also researched and enhanced. Now, the fundamental principles that will guide both the education system as large as well as the individual institutions within we have to recognize, identify, and foster the unique capabilities of each student. Then we have to, according to the highest priority, to achieve foundation literacy also. That is ECCE, numeracy by all students by grade 3. We need to be flexible. That is, we need to identify each child's own personal goals plus his own capabilities. Then we have to have no hard separations between arts and sciences, that is in the NEP itself, between curricular and extracurricular activities also. Then vocational and academics has been gelled now in this new NEP. Multidisciplinarity and holistic education across all streams for multidisciplinary world. Then we have to emphasize on conceptual learning and understanding. And creativity and critical thinking has been put to test, and in fact, it has been put in use in the NEP. Then we have ethics and human and constitutional values, which have been promoted. Promoting multilingualism also and the power of language in teaching and learning. Then life skills have been put in use or applied, and they have been applied in this NEP, which will include communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience. Then there has been focus on regular formative assessment. There is extensive use of technology, which we have already learned, and we are still in the process of learning, and we'll need it more in the coming years and time. Then we need to respect each other's diversity, and even the local context has to be lifted up and brought out in the open in this competitive world. Then we have to, should also include it should have equity and inclusive education that has been emphasized on this NEP. I think as educators, we all are working on it. Then there has to be synergy in curriculum across all levels of education. Then we as teachers and as educationists as leaders need to be at the heart of this learning process. We need to work towards it. Then there is outstanding research as a core requisite of outstanding education and development. Then we need to have a rootedness and pride in India. That has really come up in this NEP and emphasized. So we all as educators are going to work for it. Now there is slight we are going to work for the vision of the policy. And the first thing that I can think of is also early childhood care and education that we need to emphasize upon. The focus areas will be foundational literacy and numeracy. Then we have to curtail the dropout rates. ensuring universal access to education at all levels. Curriculum and pedagogy in schools, restructuring school curriculum and pedagogy will be another aspect that we have to look into. Holistic development of learners will need to be there, and reduced curriculum will be the key. And there will be special educators catering to the needs of the special children. Then we need to approach to teacher education also, where we need to enhance the education part of the teachers and by giving them trainings. Then there has to be equitable and inclusive education also, where the education system must aim to benefit India's children so that no child loses any opportunity to learn and excel because of circumstances of birth or background. Then there should be efficient resourcing and effective governance through schools, complexes and clusters. That I think most of us are doing with the hubs of learning. And there should be a standard setting and accreditation of school education also. To conclude, I can say that national education policy lays particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential of each individual. The government is playing its role well in making this comprehensive, it has made this comprehensive policy. Now the onus is on us as educationists to augment our efforts both at individual and at institutional levels towards successful and sustainable implementation of NEP 2020 and become valuable partners in nation building. And only one question is left for all of us. Is this not a noble aim worth striving for? Thank you very much for patient listening. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Alka ma'am. For these wonderful thoughts. You interpreted NEP, and where it emphasizes for all of us. You talked about that it makes an attempt to connect our education with a rich heritage, and many speakers in the past have also shared the similar thoughts. There's a very strong attempt in that direction. Education needs to be flexible. We all educators need to be flexible to find that uniqueness among our kids. We also talked about that NEP is offering no hard separation between the academic side and the co-curricular side of education. You also talked about that how NEP emphasizes upon bringing that equality and inclusion for all, and why we need it. You also talked about the importance of early childcare education, and you also talked about the importance of curtailing the high number of dropouts. So NEP, you also said that NEP is making a serious attempt in that direction. So thank you, Alka ma'am, for these wonderful and useful remarks. I'll be coming back to you with questions. Thank you, ma'am. Now, with this, I would request Manmeet Raina ma'am, Manmeeta ji, if we can have your ideas.
Well, once again, venerated panelists on the board and lovely audience, good evening. Already so many ideas have come out how to go to implement NEP 2020 from the prior discussions, and the intellectuals on the board decoded NEP 2020 so brilliantly. So what can I say? Just I'm going to share some observations when I have been going through NEP 2020. What I can see, NEP 2020 is a very forward-looking policy and has international outlook, because it included all up-to-date subjects concerned like the artificial intelligence, data analysis, coding, decoding, and many more. And I think till now, no such policy is drafted where children will be given wings of technology. At the same time, the thought process will be rooted to the values. I can see NEP with two perspectives. First one, reform in the entire education sector, from the very basic level, pre-primary level, to the university level. The second perspective is what I observe, that is the collective efforts. As Rohini Aima ma'am, in the beginning, she said that there is a need to bridge the gap between the government, private, urban, rural educational institution. And that is one of the, I think that is one of the most important perspective of National Education Policy 2020. First of all, we should make our students aware of the features and the positive side of national education policy, I think, because they have been facing a war since 11th and 12th months. Mentally, they are in a, in a very uncomfort zone, I can say. Then we should prepare them mentally for the changes of the entire education sector. At the same time, we need to take care of the confusion of the students regarding many aspects. For example, the multiple subject entries and exit. That is one of the things that students are asking, what is it basically? They are not getting that point. Some confusions are there. Secondly, this selection of the favorite subject. Thirdly, the academic credit points. Many more things are there. We need to prepare our children. We need to make our children, first of all, aware of it. Then we should prepare them to face the challenges of national education policy and go entirely deep into the national education policy. With flexible curriculum, creative combination of subjects, integration of the vocational education, it really has a unique outlook, no doubt. One of the best thing I found, that is the development of soft and hard skill among the students. Not only in elementary and secondary sector, in higher education sector also, NEP has given some strategic guidelines in graduation level, like in the first year, that is certificate, then the second year, that is diploma, third year, that is degree. In that way, that continuation is there. As well as the integration of subject in the university level also. But when we talk about the implementation, few points come into my mind. For example, the students can choose the respective favorite subject from 8 to 12. We may fall short of subject expert somehow. Emphasis on the local languages, the regional languages. It's a bit difficult. It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's a bit difficult to arrange the teachers of various language experts. For example, I belong to Assam. And in Assam, we have almost 18 tribal languages. My nearby state, that is Arunachal, there we have almost more than 22 tribal languages. So it will be a bit difficult, but not impossible. If we'll plan and execute the policy strategically, definitely we'll be successful. I really appreciate the wonderful policy, but to implement this policy at ground level, the academic leaders should be trained first. I don't mind, because I'm an academic leader and I don't mind to learn the new things. For successful and implementation of NEP 2020, academic leaders should be trained first. I'd like to say NEP, which is very practical in approach and based on the ground reality of country's educational scenario. We need to do only one thing. We need to think, plan, and execute. But thinking and right thinking, I think two different things. We should think in right direction. As an academic leader, we need to be very, very, very strategic in planning and executing this policy. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manmita ma'am. You talked about, you in fact touched upon all the important areas where NEP is reforming. In your assessment, that NEP is reforming all aspects of education. You talked about few challenges which NEP would create, though these are wonderful reforms, be it flexibility of subjects, how it would create more, I would say, empowered learners, but it would create challenge in your assessment before schools for subject matter experts. You also talked about and shared two very important examples, how this mother tongue aspect of NEP would create a challenge. That though it's very useful in your way, but it would be a challenging task for schools to implement. So thank you, Manmita ma'am. I would be coming back to you with questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So with this, I would request Jaswinder Singh ji, Jaswinder sir, if we can have your ideas and thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Rajulji. And again, good afternoon, going to be a good evening for all of us. We've got 8 minutes to do that. Pleasure to be a part of this group, and I've heard all the edu leaders. I would want to answer certain questions or points put up by some of you. I'll start with Manmita ma'am. Manmita ma'am, because I come from the language training industry, I've been doing that from last 30 years. And now what we are looking at is this, the change in the uh, delivery of education, the language that is going to be used, and the challenges which are going to be put forward. That's the area that I've been working on, and I've been discussing this with more than 200-300 edu leaders. What is it? Because everybody is either trying to read in between the lines of NEP, because a lot of things are not very clear. But let me come and tell you certain very important points which I've curated from whomsoever I've spoken to. The first and the most important thing is that yes, it's a great idea to teach students in their mother language or the local language during the foundation years. Let's understand why. See, let's look at what is happening is a small child, a young kid, when he is actually entering school, he already knows his mother tongue first. What we are doing is we are teaching him a new language, and without him mastering that new language, we are teaching other subjects in the same language. So he doesn't know what to go and work on. So that's where the confusion is, and that is why a lot of instability or a lot of not proper learning in the foundation areas, right? So this is a very good step. But when we look at this, how are we going to make this possible? So first and most important thing I would want to clear certain point is that it is not compulsory for a school to teach in that mother language or local language. They can still go ahead and teach in English. That's an option. It is an advice. It is a suggestion from NEP 2020 that in those early formative years, please try and explain them in this local language, which is a good thing. Coming to your point, Manmita ma'am, is that how will we get so many teachers who will be able to speak in that language? Ma'am, if I stay in Assam, even though if I'm not an Assamese, I should be able to speak Assamese. So let me give you my example. I'm a Sardar from Punjab. I stay in Ahmedabad. I had to acquire this language to be able to survive. So if I'm a teacher, I need to know English because that's my subject, but I also need to know Gujarati. So if I have to explain certain things in a language that the child understands at that nascent age, I don't think that should be a problem, because if you're staying in that area, you should be knowing that. That's something that is what NEP 2020 they had worked on, because otherwise it will be a great challenge to teach everybody all the languages, because kids may come from any part of the world or country. But that is what the thought was when they got into that. Getting on to the second point is, yes, mother tongue is important, but that does not mean English will not be catered the way it is currently being catered. A child till the age of 8 can acquire up to 5 languages together, right? And there's another research which says that if a student or if a person speaks 3 or more languages, the brain works better. Imagine one sentence, you use 3 languages and still make a meaningful sentence. That's logic. So the brain works better if a child speaks 3 or more than 3 languages. And the 3 language concept is great. I think, Alka ma'am, you did talk about the heritage, right? What NEP has done is they've given these 3 languages. They're talking about the local language. They're talking about the foreign languages, English. They're also talking about classical language, where Sanskrit and Tamil are both coming into it. The other languages may also come in. I think Urdu may also come in. So what is happening here is by letting our students know what this language is, they will understand more about the culture and heritage. See, understand any country, howsoever intelligent they are or strong they are financially, unless they have a nationalist feeling within themselves, that country is not strong. Let me give you a simple example. During our confrontation with China, our brave soldiers were outnumbered by them, but they were crying and we were laughing, because that feeling of nationalism was there in the Indian soldiers, which is not there in Chinese, because it's a communist country. There's no love for any heritage. So what we have to understand is, by bringing in first the cultural languages, they are making our people nationalists, love thy country. Second is, Indian heritage has got such a lot to learn. If we say that we were the first ones to set up the first university in the world, that is why we need to understand all those people. Ma'am, you took names of so many great personalities, including Panini, because I'm talking about Sanskrit, right? So what happened here is that they have got such a lot hidden in the scriptures, that if we are able to access that, if our students are able to access that, we will go from one place to one. Understand, we are the people who gave 0 to the world, Aryabhat. But ma'am, how was he able to get onto that? Understand, Sanskrit is the most logical language in the world. So we have actually developed a Sanskrit Lab, the first and the only lab in the world for teaching Sanskrit. So when we were developing, I realized that each word, each letter in that word is actually based on a formula, that if something comes after the other letter, there's a reason why it is there. So if we expose our students to whatever level of cultural languages, that could be even Tamil, students thinking will become logical, which is the base of coding. Tomorrow's world is artificial intelligence. Tomorrow's world is coding. Tomorrow's world is technology. So all that, this is there. So it is not that we are forcing them to learn a particular language like Sanskrit. We are actually making them brains think logically. Because when we are talking about critical thinking, that's logical thinking. So what we need to do is start from the beginning. So if I were to be a school owner, what I would do is start all three languages at the same time. Then again, a question comes in, how can we teach 3 or 4 languages at a time? Simple, take use of technology. Not everybody can do everything, but with the use of technology, you will be able to go to that level. So simple as that. Like I told you, NEP 2020 is a disruptive policy, and we can achieve it. There are a lot of things which are unthinkable, but if you use technology, that can be done. Let's take first example, how will we train so many teachers in the new way? Because teachers teach the way they were taught, and now we are saying let's teach different. So we need to train them. How are we going to go and train 1.5 million teachers of a country? It's actually 14 lakh, 1.4 million teachers. The only point is that use technology, get into that. But the first training that we need to give to the teachers is on the use of technology, ma'am. See, understand, you can't go and train everybody in every different aspect. But if you train them on the use of technology, train them how to get information from the internet, you're actually doing half the work. And then they can do it. It's like, instead of giving somebody food, teach them how to cook, and they'll keep learning on their own. So foremost, when we start about talking about teacher training, the first training should be the use of tools. I'm not saying that all the teachers need to know how to code. That is not required. Not everybody needs to be a coder, but everybody needs to go and find information. You don't have to remember everything, but you need to know where to find what. So if that kind of training is given to a teacher, I'm sure that can be worked on a great level. So when I'm touching about this language part, I'm touching right from the ECCE level, ma'am. Because what I say is, language is never taught, language is never learned, it is always acquired. Right? So when you need to acquire a language, what you need to do is you need to give them an environment. So I don't think that going through 3 languages at a time is going to be a challenge, provided we process it, we put it in the right manner. So that's an important part that we talk about. Okay, we've also talked about people are talking about okay, so people are talking about experiential learning. Okay, critical thinking. How does this happen? If we really want to have experiential learning, we need to have peer group learning. Students learn better from their friends than from the teachers. You get a new mobile phone, before you understand one function, your child knows 10 functions, because he gets it from his friends. So if we need to talk about experiential learning, give them things in their hands. Okay, see, MIT, US, they created a human model based on the amount of brain used to do a particular thing. So if we have to redesign the human body, which would be the biggest part of our body? The hands. Because the hands use the maximum of the brain, and the smaller part would be a feet. Right, ma'am? So that is what we are talking about. Experiential is actually going and making them do things on their own. And when we talk about language, don't teach them. Throw them into a language pool, they will automatically get it. Imagine you were to be pushed into Japan, say, ma'am, okay, from tomorrow you're going to be a teacher, a principal in Japan. First 2-3 months you're going to be in trouble, but then you are going to find a way out to communicate, because humans cannot live without communicating. It is such a simple thing if taken that way. So experiential learning, peer group learning, technology-based learning is what we need to work on, so that we can take this policy to the next level. Coming on to one more important thing. This policy talks about vocational training. A lot of people think, why vocational training? So let me tell you one thing. First, 10 days of bagless work, school, That is where they go to a nearby shop or a nearby factory or a nearby mechanic and go and sit and see what he does, help him out. That is to understand what goes into doing something. An earlier participant said that he met somebody who was M.Tech, but he did not know how to put up a fuse. What is that degree important when you can create a rocket, but you can't fix up a fuse? So that is all day-to-day life things. So when our kids are made to go and meet these people for those 10 bagless days, what happens is they will also realize the dignity of labor. That is something that is lacking big time in our culture, in our country. If we start dignifying or giving dignity or respecting each and every work, people will have more options to work in. Our problem of unemployment will go away. Tell me one thing, you want one chartered accountant, you get 5. You got one doctor, you got 5 doctors, but you want one plumber, you don't get him. Am I right, ma'am? You want one electrician, you don't get him. Why? Not many people choose that. But let me tell you one thing, a plumber today makes as much as an engineer makes. So it is not about money, it is about dignity. The way in other Western countries it is dignified, that is the reason why they're saying this has to be done. And one last and important thing, which was said, that when we are giving them this option of choosing which subject should they choose, a child by the 8th standard knows what he or she wants to do. Let him go and choose his subjects. Okay, say if I wanted to be a businessman, okay, but I have a factory, I need to know physics, but I need to know accounts also. That is the combination that's working. Okay, if I'm going to be a lawyer, I need to do law, but I need to have mass communication or communicative skills. So this is what the government is saying. Let the child choose what he likes to do, so dropouts will not be there. And what they're doing is, you can get out or get in. That means if you leave after first year of college, you are not a dropout, you are a certificate holder. And if you do some work and you think you want to come back, it can. So they've made it easy. The entire policy, instead of being institution-centric, it has become a child-centric. It has become student-centric. It has become learner-centric. Let you do what you want to do. That is what will change the way we take education as. You see, in the other countries, students from India go and excel, and here they don't get, they don't even get 50%. Why? Because they are given the choice of doing what they want. So I end with this fantastic policy. Let's put our hands together. Let's put our brains together and implement it. Somebody earlier said it will take 15 years, but Rome was not built in a day. We have to start one day. Let's start. Maybe our next generation will bear the fruits. But that's how you get a mango tree. You don't grow a mango tree to eat. Your sons or your grandsons will eat. So that's our grandchildren. Let me not be sexist about it. So your grandchildren eat about it. That's an important thing. So over to you, Rajuji. Thank you for the opportunity. I poured out what I actually wanted to do, because this is what I've been facing day to day when I talk about education, when I talk about language teaching across the country. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. You have always been a big advocate to this policy. Sometimes you believe that there is a Gujarat connection, maybe because of that. So, but you highlighted the important parts of the NEP. You talked about the why we need peer group learning, experiential learning, technology-based learning. The importance of vocational education, which has been very heavily emphasized upon in this national education policy. You talked about the importance and the kind of impact this multiple entry and exit proposal would create. In the end, you summarize that NEP is a more child-centric document rather than institution-centric, and that is the main key, the biggest strength of this document. So thank you, Jaswinder sir, for these very important and strong ideas. I'll be coming back to you with question. And with this, I would invite our last speaker for this very special session, Sushant Sharma ji. Sushant ji, over to you.
Thank you, Rajulji. Good evening, everyone. It was great to hear this informative session and hear those thoughts from all the eminent guests who are sitting here. Just to put it this way, that we are the company who is into providing digital healthcare programs to schools. So we are one of the core companies who are doing hand-holding for schools in terms of providing healthcare services. To start the session, I would like to divide this session into 2 parts. One is pre-pandemic time, and one is during pandemic time, which is going on right now. So pre-pandemic time, we were going to schools and discussing about healthcare activities which we are doing, and was creating a lot of awareness among schools, because at that time schools were a bit skeptical that how to have a healthcare company in terms of doing any thing which is required in terms of healthcare services. So, but during pandemic time, what we have seen is a lot of schools now are coming back to us in terms of asking that which all services we have, the bouquet of services, and what NEP says today in terms of healthcare for the schools. So I would like to focus that to start with. As far as national education policy is concerned, national education policy says today that there are a few mandatory compliances which have been set as far as healthcare is concerned. Out of them, first is annual preventive health checkup of students in the schools. So this already schools were doing as per CBSE. Now it has become a national education policy, and it may be any state board, it may be any school. They need to now follow and have an annual health checkup of their students to be conducted in their school. Now, after this, there has to be mental counseling needs to be provided by a certified psychologist. So that is again one of the points which have been included in our national education policy. Third is there has to be a lot of holistic imbibement of training sessions which need to be given on healthcare services like first aid and public hygiene, preventive healthcare, mental health. So all these things needs to be kept in mind while giving healthcare seminars, healthcare events in the schools. And last but not the least is creating a suitable infrastructure for disabled children, which can be easily accessed in the schools. So these are the 4 points which have been identified in national education policy. And to take it further, what I would like to tell you is we are a company by the name of Digilux Healthcare, and we help schools in terms of complying with all these healthcare activities which are required in schools. To start with, we are into providing preventive health checkups in the schools. We have got our own team of doctors who comes to school for conducting health checkups. There are roughly 55 touch points of each child which we conduct in general, ENT, dental, vision, vitals, and we check the complete holistic physical health of a child and create a marking and then provide that health report card to the schools, which can be in turn given it to the parents. We do have our own mobile app which is on Android and iOS for the parents, where parents can also see the health report cards. They can upload their own prescriptions, they can have diet plans mapped with the students health report cards and many more stuff which is there on the mobile app which we have shared. Then after that, we are providing mental counseling through psychologists in the school. We have got one-to-one counseling or group counseling. Teachers, respectable teachers in conjunction with principals or other coordinators identify that there are a lot of students which needs counseling, mental counseling, and if you're a girl child, you not tend to open up more with the teachers or coordinators which are already present in the schools, because you think some of the other time that this might go to my parents, this might go, this can be shared with other teachers or other people. So here we come into the picture. What we do is we do one-to-one counseling with the students which have been identified by the school. We have got different pedagogies and methods by which we follow, and we keep schools in the loop, whereby we tell them that if parents needs to be involved in some of the other sense, then that can be done at that particular point of time. Then after that, we are into providing healthcare seminars, healthcare events in the schools. We are sharing roughly 50 to 55 topics covering different age groups, different classes for the students. And we in turn ask from the schools also to tell us that which all topics do they require us to give a healthcare events. Then after that, we have got an insurance partner which is Religare. So we are covering insurance, child in school bus, and we do customize our packages too. So if you want a customized package for your school, let's assume you want to have a paying parent insured. So we can do that for you also. So it can be a complete customized buffet of solutions which we provide. Then after that, there's a school medical room. We provide nursing staff. We can provide you doctor. We provide you a software also that can be installed in your school medical room. So if a student comes to school medical room, let's assume at 12 o'clock and he or she leaves at 12:30, then parents will come to know on their mobile app that, okay, the child has come because of headache. For this particular time, this medicine has been given, and we do provide a data analytics chart to the school also now onto school dashboard, whereby how many times the child has come, and there is a red mark which starts to flash to the school that, okay, now this child has come too many times for a single or multiple problems, and now parents need to address these problems. And tomorrow sometimes parents also come back to school and ask, ma'am, आपने देखा होगा बच्चे को सर में दर्द बहुत ज्यादा होता था, why didn't you tell us at that particular point of time, हम बच्चे का एक बारी जाके चेकअप करवा लेते. तो all these things are shared on the platform of students, on the platform of schools, and the concerned admin people, coordinators who are checking our school dashboard can relate to all this. And after that, we have got a beautiful online platform which we provide in terms of admin dashboard to the school and school owners. So if you are a school who has got multiple branches, you can have our own admin panel. So in that admin panel, there's a complete reporting that how many students have been checked, what all was the outcome of those students, and health report cards. And if you want to upload those health report cards onto CBSE's platform, you need not to scan each and every health report card. You only need to go download bulk health report card, upload it onto CBSE's platform. Your teachers need not to do any physical work in terms of scannings and uploading that. So what we do is we provide all these services under one roof, and we do customize our services requirements of the school. And during this pandemic time, what we have understood is earlier there was a lot of awareness which was need to be created, but now awareness level has increased. And now parents themselves want schools to take an effort in terms of providing something related to a healthcare, for their children. So that is one of the things. So we would like to become the extended right hand of the schools in terms of providing this. And I'm very fortunate to have Emma ma'am here. Because she was our first client in Jammu when we went to Jammu and 2 years back. So she supported us. She told me that, Sushant, why don't you start with Jammu? It's a beautiful territory. And today I am proud to say that we are one of the market leaders in Jammu, catering to roughly 23 schools and serving everybody right now. So in the last, I just want ma'am to, testimony us in terms of how we are doing. Just if you can say 2 words to complete this journey.
Yes, Sushant, it's been a beautiful journey with you, because we are the ones, I think, first school in Jammu to start this healthcare service from Digilux. And
That's right.
we as school and the parents on our board are actually very happy, because they have been providing with the technical health providers to us, the specialist doctors who are coming to us. We do it term-wise, first term and second term. Twice a year we get it done, and it's been a beautiful journey with them, and qualified and competent doctors. They come and they see our children. They make their medical report, and the report cards are generated. It's online, and technically even the parents can access, right, as he rightly said, from the app, as well as even we can access those in the school. So even afterwards, wherever the children are having many problems, and the doctors are suggesting the further investigations, then the parents are called and they are told and they are counseled as per case to case. So it's been a beautiful journey, and thanks to Sushant for being associated with us. We are happy with your services.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks for your words. Thank you. So I'd like to over here with these lines, and I would love to, associate and have further discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sushant ji, and thank you, Rohini ma'am, for your feedback. And for this was also a validation that we are inviting right people, on the platform. So thank you, Rohini ma'am, and thank you, Sushant ji, for your detailed interpretation and sharing with us like how this post-pandemic world has been changed. By the focus of parents largely has come to this healthcare. So a big thanks to all the key speakers for sharing your remarks. With this, we come to the last part of the session, the question part. We have already received many questions on national education policy. So I would be sharing these questions with you all. But before I share these questions, I'll just take a minute in explaining what exactly we have been doing at School Lalaji Solutions. I'll share my screen for a minute and then I'll immediately come to that question part. Some of you are already aware with School Lalaji Solutions. We are India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. We are present in 42 cities. We are working with some around 4,500 institutions. We help institutions in three ways. We help them in buying the right thing from right people at right price. We also help institutions in selling their old items like their buses, generators, their furniture. There are many institutions who may need that those stuff. We also help institutions in raising money, that may be in terms of loans or fee financing or some other ways. Why any school, why any organization would need a platform like School Lalaji? You already have your old suppliers, your team is expert, you believe that you are getting good discounts. So why you need a platform like School Lalaji? There are two very important reasons. One, we have more than 10,000 educational suppliers in different categories. So it is not practically possible for all these school leaders, to interact with all those people. Even in most cases, our team is not, I would say they are not equipped to understand and discuss with all the category partners. Even their bandwidth don't allow them to interact with all the companies in that particular category. So it is very, very difficult for both sides. Very difficult for those educational suppliers to reach out to schools to have that kind of demonstration. And for the school leaders, you always have that limited number of options, who are able to reach out to you. You have those number of people, to supply those things. So here we come into picture. We understand your school, we understand your taste, we understand your requirement, and we have category experts who interact with different categories in their particular category, on daily basis. We also do the background checking by talking to their previous clients. So we have a group of credible suppliers, credible solution providers. So accordingly, we connect you with the right people. We also negotiate with them on your behalf. These are different categories where we are helping educational institutions: smart classroom, procurement, uniform, insurance, diesel, solar plant, language lab, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, STEM STEAM labs, career counseling, stationery, digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, and finance. And we take the guarantee that will save at least your 5%, of your annual expenditure. So if you spend 100 rupees last year on a certain items or certain expenditure, we would do that the same thing in just 95 rupees. Just one example, we saved 2 crore 40 lakh rupees for different schools in one category, that is bus insurance. Some major highlights: 8 megawatt solar installation we did, 3,000 bus insurance we did in 2019, 400 plus smart classrooms, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training programs, 56 old buses, uniform in 42 schools. By the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. We need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So thank you. I'll end my talk here. I would request our speakers, if I may present some questions to you. I would request Rohini, ma'am, if I may present the first question to you. Rohini, ma'am, if we
Yes,
have your
please. Yes,
The
definitely.
question has come from Ms. Shweta Thakur. Shweta ji is a computer teacher with the DAV Public School, Jammu. Shweta ji's question says, what would be the changes for study planning for senior classes? Key changes. If you can highlight 2 or 3 key changes, Rohini ma'am.
Okay. As per the NEP, The three key changes are, the first of all, the very important change is that the system is going to offer number of subjects as per new NEP. The number of subjects are open for the children to opt for. It is no more, even the vocational subjects have become, integrated into the normal stream. And the third one is the co-curricular subjects. Some of them were like taken like out of this, and they were not assessed as per the normal subject rate. So now there is no barrier in between. Everything is same, and child can go for any combination of subjects as per the abilities and capabilities and the liking of the the students. The second important thing is the content. The core content of the subjects will be reduced, whereas the experiential learning associated with the content will be given more importance. So we need to devise many learning opportunities, the outcome based learning opportunities. And in this we can have the experiments, we can have the visits for the children, as Mr. Jaswinder has rightly put that the child can go to the nearby places, or we as schools can tie up with the various agencies, maybe government bodies, or like ITIs they do for the electric learning to these circuits and all. We can send the children to the nearby areas where they are doing all these carpentries there. We can tie up with certain agencies where the carpentry work is going on, and we can make the children visit those places to learn and have the hands-on experience from these places. Like very rightly, I was going through one example that if we go to the workshop, like for our vehicle repairs also, if we go one day, we see another mechanic doing our vehicle, and the other two persons are just standing and watching or helping him, handing over the tools or something like that. But if you go after 2 months or 3 months, the person who was just handing over, this is the same person, maybe your vehicle. And maybe after a year or so, you see that the third person who has been, doing the mechanic work in some workshop, he has his own open up his own shop as a repair shop. So what is the person doing? The person may not have been educated, but he was observing others to do these repair works. From observing only, the person has learned these techniques and the skills. So the more focus of this education, secondary education, is going to be on the experiential learning, observation, and skill-based learning. These are the changes that NEP is talking about.
Thank you, Rohini ma'am. I'll come back to you. Now I would request Meena ma'am, if I may present this question to you. You are on mute, ma'am. Meena ma'am, you are on mute. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, a question, ma'am, has come from Ms. Randeep Kaur. Randeep ji is a PGT with Jammu Sanskrit School, Jammu. The question says, how can there be teaching without research at higher education level? So do you believe that NEP is promoting research at a higher education level? Meera ma'am?
Yeah, in fact, NEP has included all strata of educational organization, and not only to schools, to college also. They are going to give guidance. In particular, I would like to relate NTA, that is National Testing Agency. It is going to conduct subject-wise exams for every subject. Presently, for this particular year, we can say they have conducted medical and engineering entrances. But as per NEP 2020, it has been declared that they are going to conduct for all the subject, and those assessment are going to be the support for the universities, for various organizations, on which the score scored by the student is going to be counted for their various level admissions. And that same is going to be implemented for research level, MPhil PhD level also. So this is going to guide the whole education fraternity starting from nursery to the PhD level, doctorate level. And yeah, definitely for any subject, the research gives us the purpose of including the